Welcome to Just Bob being Bob. Today I'm a couple days late with this. I don't know why. Apparently it's the luxuries of being retired. No, I actually knew I had to do it. I actually slated to do it on Friday to put it on Saturday like I usually do. However, I had to, I helped with the football game on Friday. I know that's no excuse. I should have been prepared, but that's what it was. And Saturday, when the wife is home, I don't always like doing stuff downstairs because I want to spend time with her because she's gone most of the time. Anyhow, today we're going to talk about medical cost. I'm going to tell you a couple stories. I'm going to probably get pretty excited on a few of these because it really bothers me. Maybe not. Maybe I'll keep my cool. I don't know. I really don't know because it really I don't know. It just. But one thing I want to do. I mean, if I've been trying to get people to comment. I know the channel's very new, and it's really hard for people to get comments. But if you do, just say, hey, I like it, whatever. I don't like it. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? If I haven't earned your subscription, I hope I can earn it today. I really do. Well, let's get into it. Let's get into this. And again, I said I wanted to tell a couple stories. Then I want to briefly just talk about some of the costs that I personally have to do. And I know that everyone has their own story. And it just, things are not cheap. Things are not cheap on medical whatsoever. Sometimes I'm afraid to go to the doctor. They say, go to the doctor, ask advice. You look on the internet. Well, and on the internet, it's all doom and gloom because eventually everything leads to cancer, right? Or something. But then they say, well, get the advice of the doctor. You go to the doctor, it's a $500 bill, period. For me, at least. I mean, and we'll get into some of that cost later. I don't know. I'm hoping that we can. Anyhow, I want to tell you a little story about something I don't really understand. I don't understand some of this stuff. As I've alluded to a few times on a few videos, I'm freshly retired. I retired this year. In 2025, I retired. Well, at that time, we had to change insurance. We changed from the insurance that I had to my wife's insurance, and she works at a smaller place, and the insurance is probably not as good, maybe it is, I don't know, as what we had. So with that said, I don't really know a lot of the ins and outs of the insurance itself. I go to the doctor. I know it's a little tighter as far as the doctors you can go to. It's not a PPO. In fact, I don't understand. If somebody can explain down below what the actual terminology of some of this stuff is, it'd be awesome. But anyhow, Nick, my son, I know I mentioned him before. Several weeks ago, he had an issue. All right. And he called me from school and told me what the nurse had said, and my wife, he actually goes to the school my wife works at, and he consulted with my wife, Olga, and then he called me and he said that he really couldn't practice football that day, that he actually, it hurt so bad and stuff that he went to, and I'm not going to explain what he had or anything like that. It's just, he had something. So, sorry about that. I moved the camera a little bit. Anyhow, so what I did is I said, okay, come on home. Well, and I can't, because you can't anymore, and this is one of my fusses more than anything, is you call the doctor, your personal doctor, your family doctor, you can't even get into them for 3 or 4 days. Oh, well, we have an appointment next week. No, I need it today. So, well, what are you going to do? So, for me, I drove down to an urgent care that I know is part of the doctor's thing. So I drove down there, and it's about 40 minutes away. I drove down there, and they saw Nick, and they prescribed him a medicine, and we got the medicine, and when he started taking it, well, the next day, nothing really got, and you don't expect things like antibiotics to work overnight, but you expect things to start getting a little better, because basically they kind of scared us, because they said if it gets any worse, you need to go take him directly to the hospital, so they can do a CAT scan type thing, or whatever. So we were, here I am, and I'm trying not to let it show or anything, but I'm a little nervous. I don't know. They basically, we went down there to urgent care, and here's what they basically told me, is they basically said, well, it's too early for us to figure out anything, so here's some medicine, and if it gets worse, just, do some other stuff. It's like, what? And anyhow, so what we did is we came back, we got the medicine, he started taking it. The next day, nothing really got any better. In fact, he said it even hurt worse. But it didn't actually show the signs of what they told me, that I needed to take him to the hospital. So what I did is I actually called our doctor's office, and I got a receptionist. After you get through the whole string of AI or whatever the heck it is on answering machines, you finally get to talk to somebody, and then, well, we can't really, you got an appointment, you can have a couple of days. I said, no, I need to talk to a nurse or something. So after about 20 minutes, probably 10 minutes, I finally got a hold of a nurse, right? And after I told the nurse the situation, I said we went down to the urgent care, and the notes should be there on the thing that they track all that stuff with, and they did, and they looked it up, and basically she said, okay, we can get you in here to physician assistants tomorrow. Or today. Yeah, was it today? I think it may have been the same day. I can't remember. I think it was the day. It was all a blur because we went several times. But anyhow, we got in there, and they did a thing, and they did some other thing. And by the way, the medicine that they prescribed him in this other facility, and they had his records, was something that it had penicillin in it, which he's allergic to. so they changed that. So we went to that. We went and got that, and they wanted to follow up because by then it was Thursday or Friday. I think it was Thursday. They said, well, if it ain't better by Monday, we want to see you on Monday. We want to see evaluate, blah, blah, blah. And they need to maybe do some more tests or whatever it was. Well, it actually ended up starting getting better with this other medicine. And we went in there Monday, and it was the all clear and everything else. And Nick works a job, and this is, and I'm not trying to confuse you, but Nick works a job. So at every time we went there, we asked for a note. So we had to get a note to be released from work so he could be off work. He only works part-time, but still he works, and they wanted a note for that, right? So we got this note from them that he is released to go back to work, and he can play sports again. And that was it. So he went right after that appointment on Monday. He went into the work and gave him the note, and they said, well, it ain't good enough. We got to have any restrictions. We got to have restrictions on here, or whatever the lack of the definition for restrictions. And he said it doesn't have any. It said release to work, period. Well, that ain't good enough, so you can't work. So he couldn't work that day again. So now he's missed 3 or 4 days of work, right? So here I am. I call over to the doctor's office, and I get the reception. Finally, another 10 minutes, I get a reception. And I said, the note that you gave us today, and we were just in there 2 hours ago, and the note that you gave us is not good enough for the company. We need to know that he has no restrictions. All right, I'll pass it on. I said, we need it. He wants to work. Why do we have to wait? Well, anyhow, long story short, we didn't get anything that night at all. In fact, the next day, I actually called back over there, and I actually sent Nick a note, and I said, Nick, you go over to that office. I said, I'm going to call him right now. We called him again. I mean, and it took another hour or so to even get the correct note so he could get back to work. All right, and that's just, I think that where's the personalization of doctor's visits? I just don't get it anymore. I just don't get it. But I mean, it is unreal what we had to go through to get a simple note for him to get back to work that we've been cleared. And let's back up a little bit. And as I said earlier, the first appointment was in urgent care. It was 30, 40 miles away, but with the same facility as where we have our doctors, all under the same kind of roof, whatever you want to call it. Network, I guess you'd say, network. And we went in there, we went down there, and we finally got the bill back, and our insurance didn't cover any of that. But they gave us a discount because we paid cash discount is what they called it. And it ended up, for that urgent care visit, it ended up to be about $140 out of my pocket, right? Which, it ain't the best, but it's better than what I'm about ready to tell you. The doctor's visit, the physician assistants the next day, we got these all at the same time. The physician assistant the next day, Nick got a flu shot at the same time. The physician's assistant the next day, we ended up having to pay $300 for that visit. $300 versus the $140 before in the urgent care. Now, they didn't really do any more. They looked at him, they talked, whatever. They did give him a flu shot. And by the way, don't get a flu shot at a clinic like that, at your doctor's office, because they charge for giving you an injection. It's like $35 or $40 just to give them an injection. We could have went over to Walgreens and got the same thing for free and not cost us anything. Anyhow, it was like $300 for that one. And then we went back on Monday to have the follow-up, and it was another $200, $225 or something like that. So we ended up paying almost close to $750 for this. $750 for that. And I mean, again, I can't stress enough the personalization that is unreal. And I don't get insurance at all. I mean, I don't understand insurance. We pay, and I'm going to get kind of excited here, we pay $900 a month to an insurance company. $900 a month. And we have an $8,000 deductible a year. So we basically pay $12,000 to the insurance company for them to cover nothing. And I understand, and I'm actually from old school, and I actually understand. I really do understand that insurance is there for a catastrophe. All right, so I'm paying ahead, and somebody else had a catastrophe or something like that. But it's just unreal, the cost of some of this stuff. We have a friend that we just visited us, and had a I think it was a liver transplant or something like that, or something. I think it was liver, I think. And she shared with my wife the cost of that procedure, the cost of everything that has associated with that was $2 million. $2 million, let that sink in. $2 million. So when I seen that, it's like, when I heard that, I went online and I said, what is the average cost of this transplant? The hospital bills alone, the hospital stay was almost $1 million itself. I mean, based off of Google. How does somebody afford that? I mean, let's go back to Nick's thing. And I'm not trying to jump around here, but I'm just a little irritated here now. It's like, let's go back to Nick's thing. And how can I get cheaper if the insurance don't pay? How does that work? So if I just go in for cash, can I just pay you less? I mean, what? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And then, you hear about, and again, I don't want to get political or anything like this. You hear about people saying, well, it cost me $300 a month for insurance. Well, that ain't nothing. We pay $900 and I'm a retiree. When I retired from the facility that I was at, where I worked at, I looked at actually keeping the same health care by Cobra, I think that's how you pronounce it. $1,499 a month. How in the heck can somebody like me that makes Social Security, where half of it's going to go to health care? It's just unreal how people think that we can live off of this stuff. How we can be, you need to be healthy. Well, you know what? If I have something wrong, most of the time I just go until it's too late. I mean, I think that's probably the problem. Most of us just go until it's too late, unless you're, maybe not. Maybe it's just the state I live in. I don't know. Because when I transferred up here to Wisconsin, when I came up here to Wisconsin, I used to have a pretty good communication. I used to have a pretty good channel to my doctor, my family doctor, in which I had for years. If I had something wrong, if I woke up in the morning and I had something wrong, or one of my kids had something wrong, I could call the office and they would get me in within a few hours. They would get us in there to see that doctor. Up here, no, you call them up here. Well, the nearest appointment we can have is next week, or 3 days from now. I'm having a problem now. I may not have. What is my problem going to be in 3 days? What's it going to be next week? I go to the doctor because I'm older, right? I'm old, and I have some problems, right? In fact, I actually have a problem with my heart. It's actually, my heart's an AFib. I don't want to give away the farm here, but it's an AFib, a constant AFib. It's been like that for years. And and I make my appointments. I go to the doctor at least once a year because they have to check all. Because some of the medicines I'm on, they have to check it all the time, right? So I make my appointment ahead of time, probably usually a year ahead of time, and I make my appointment, and most of the time, that appointment ends up getting moved. Like my appointment in November got moved to December. I mean, like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's just unreal. I don't even get the cost of some of this stuff. The cost of some of these medicines. I mean, I watch YouTube videos just like you're watching my YouTube video right now. And you see the people coming on there, my medicine's $10,000. How in the heck? No wonder insurance is so high. $10,000 or something a month for medicine? I mean, I take a pill that's $1,600 a month. I have trouble affording it. I don't even know what to do. I mean, I can't. When I was working, it was fine. And when last year I went and I said, hey, is there anything we can do? Can we change something? Is there any generic? Is there anything out there to save me some money? Otherwise, I'm going to stop taking it. And basically they called, and I went to their website, the place that makes the medicine, and I got part of this program, and I got a couple good deals for a few months. And then the last time I got it, it was $1,400 again. Well, that didn't do me any good. It did for a little bit, but I mean, I'm grateful for what I was able to do. But I need a long-term solution. Unless I don't think I'm here for a long time, I guess. I don't know. What do you people do? Tell me some stories, some nightmares. I mean, I don't even anymore. I'm afraid to even go to the doctor. I'm afraid to get hurt. I'm afraid to have a problem. If I have a problem, I ain't going to go to the doctor for it. I'm going to wait until it's so bad I can't do nothing, I guess. I mean, I'm going to stop taking my medicines because I can't afford them. I mean, what the Sam Hill is going on in this country? You have countries like Ukraine. Yeah, you have countries like Canada. You have other countries that have free health care. And yes, like in Ukraine, like I know a little bit about Ukraine, but in Ukraine, the health care that you get for free is probably not the best, but at least it's health care. I mean, at least it's something. Here, there's no reason, and I'm an advocate for people's socialization or anything like that. I'm not really that, and I'm not trying to talk about that. But there should be some things that are restricted of this. I mean, we should have at the richest country, or this country, the modernization of this country, we should have access to health care that's reasonably priced. I mean, there's certain things, if you want to live in a capitalist society, that's fine, that's awesome, that's great, but healthcare shouldn't be part of it. Drugs shouldn't be part of it. Drugs that you keep you alive should not be part of it. They just shouldn't. They just should not. I mean, if we were in... There's no reason, oh, well, this is $10,000 a month. You can't have it because you can't afford it. No. And I know there's people out there's probably, they run to the doctors for everything. Most of the time, and I don't really know, but I mean, I can't. I don't know. I mean, we talked today about the cost of healthcare. We talked today about the unpersonalization of healthcare. Because to me, that are not healthcare, the unpersonalization of doctor's office visits. You call to the doctor's office and you get a secretary, or you get, not a secretary, but you get a receptionist, or if you do get a receptionist. And then it's like pulling teeth to get to talk to a nurse or something like that. I mean, how is that personalization? How can you have a doctor? And I mean, and I, no offense, I love my doctor. He's awesome. But how can you, oh, well, he's not in the office. He's giving a lecture. Or he's not in the office. He's on, I mean, I just don't, I don't know. Somebody explain to me. Comment below. I mean, my best medical advice comes from the internet, and they say, well, don't bring your internet. I mean, I bet they get sick of it. You come in there and you actually have a pretty good idea. I mean, I had a doctor. Before I had this doctor, before I have the doctor I have today, when I first come up here to Wisconsin, I gave the doctor the list. These are the medicines I have. This is what I have. Here are my records. Get the records, whatever. All right. So we did a blood test, and everything was fine. And she re-prescribed all my medicines, and everything was good. Right? Well, goodish, right? But anyhow, and then one of the blood tests came back, and my blood was doing a certain thing, and I said, excuse me, but isn't that the result of this medicine? Isn't that what it's supposed to do? Oh yeah, never mind. What the heck? It's like unreal. It's like I had to, and I don't know. I really do not know. I do not understand. I mean, I went about a year ago, no, 2 years ago. I ripped I ripped the muscle. All right. So I went to orthopedic, I think, yeah, orthopedic. Sometimes I get confused on some of them things. I went there, and the guy really didn't want to do anything. He didn't want to do it. Well, we can give you a shot of cortisone, put you on your way. No, I want to know what's wrong. So it's like I basically had to tell them what I want to have done. Well, we want you to do this physical therapy. I ain't doing physical therapy. That is not going to fix this problem. I want it figured out. I want it fixed. I mean, it's like pulling, well, we got to do that. No, you don't. Insurance ain't going to want to pay for more. Or you think I'm going to do physical therapy and the problem's just going to go away? It ain't. Maybe that's somebody some young kid comes in here and strains a muscle and they go to physical therapy and it fixes it and it goes away. But not me. I know when there's a problem. And it's just unreal. I don't get it. I'm not condemning anything to have to do with the medical people, because they're great. If it wasn't for them, none of us would be here probably. It's just to me, it's not the people doing the jobs, in which it ain't. It is the systems that they're put into an insurance company. I mean, I remember one time, and this is no crap, and maybe this has happened to you. I went in to get some medicine at the pharmacy the doctor prescribed. And I think this was in Iowa. I went into the pharmacy the doctor prescribed. And the pharmacist said, I can't get it because my insurance company said I couldn't have it. I said, did the doctor prescribe it? Yeah. I said, then I can get it. Well, the insurance company, blah, blah. I said, don't turn it into him. I want the medicine. That's what he's prescribed. I want it. I mean, I had to actually force them to actually give me the medicine that the doctor prescribed to me because the insurance company said I couldn't have it. And why? And I didn't even wait for the explanation. I got it in the mail. I think it was because they wanted me to get some generic that they didn't have at the pharmacy or whatever. I don't know exactly what it was. But it was like, what the heck? All right. So, all right. Well, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Comment below. Maybe we'll do this again. We'll do some more like this. All right. Because this is good stuff. I know I'm getting a little heated here, but yeah, please subscribe, comment below, share, like, whatever. Let's get a conversation going. Thank you, and God bless.